what's up, y'all? Last week I ran a poll asking about what video y'all want to see first. The consensus was an NBA mock draft, so I got y'all today. Okay, so now, guys, we're on Fanspo. That's the website I'm going to be using for y'all today. And with the first pick, I'm on the Hawks actually trading the first pick. It's my one trade, probably, of the whole video. I'm going to have them trade with the Spurs. In the notes of this trade, I'm going to have it say the Hawks are going to be getting their picks back in the trade. Now we made the trade. So the first pick, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to make the France guys link up. Not Ricochet. We're putting Sar. We're making the Twin Towers in San Antonio. Come on. Next up, I'm going to have the Wizards taking Ricochet. I think he's a good 3-and-D wing, but the Wizards, they just need pieces right now. And, they got enough pieces, they can finally construct a really good roster. Next up, at 3, I got the Rockets taking Reed Shepherd. Good combo guard, really good shooting, really good athleticism. A little short, 6'1" for a shooting guard. Pretty short. I think he's going to be a good combo guard, though. Next up, the Hawks, they're going to get that guy they probably wanted the whole time, Donovan Clingan. A guy who's ready right now, and the Hawks, they just want to get better than they are right now, which is realistically probably a playing team, 8-9 seed. They probably want to get into that 5-6 seed range, and Clingan's probably going to help them get there. Next up, I have the Pistons taking Stephon Castle, kind of like the, what was I going to say? Yeah, kind of like the Hawks. They need a guy, a winner. Castle is a winner at UConn, and the Pistons need those type of guys to, succeed. And, get back to the playoffs and not be one of the worst teams ever. Now, next up, we got the Hornets. I'm going to have to take Montes Buzeles. Again, potential. The Hornets, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs next year. Maybe they could somehow make the play-in with Miller, LaMelo, and Buzeles. We'll see. But really high upside guy. Next up, Blazers here at 7. I'm going to have them take Ron Holland. Personally, I think he's going to be the second best player in the draft, probably behind Alex Sarr. I just really love him. Athleticism, defense, exactly what you want in an NBA player. I think the Blazers, him, Sharp, and Scoot is going to be a really good big 3, potentially for the future. Next up, I got the Spurs here at 8. Rob Dillingham, great shooter. You need a point guard next to Wemby. I think Percy is where to get it. Number 9, the Grizzlies. I'm going to have them take Dalton Knecht, a team that's probably going to be around 50 wins next year, unless, because Ja got hurt last year, they weren't great. Falling down to 9. So, yeah. Knecht, I still think he's good, and he might be able to start the 3 for that team, which I think is huge for the Blazers. Or not the Blazers, the Grizzlies. And become a contender. Well, they are already contenders, but yeah. Here we go, the Jazz at 10. Nikola Topic. I think the Jazz aren't going to be contending best. Like, their ceiling's probably a 10 seed right now. And here, number 10, I'm going to have to take Nikola Topic. And even with the ACL stuff, I still think he's going to be really good. Next up, the Bulls are 11. One of my other favorite picks. I'm going to have them take Cody Williams. He's, freshman. Again, the Bulls need to realize that they're not good. That at best they're mediocre, and they need to rebuild. I think Williams could be a really good potential piece for the Bulls team. Next up, at 12, I'm going to have the Thunder take Jacoby Walker. Walter. I think that he could potentially be a really good player. And I think in the league, the Thunder, they need another combo guard off the bench. They have a million picks. Just use one of them or Walter. Can't say his goddamn name right. Kings here at 13. I'm going to have him take Shijan Solon. I don't know much about him, but I know he's from France. I know he's pretty good. So, we're going to have him take him here. Next up, the Blazers. I'm going to have them take Isaiah Collier. Another one of my favorite picks in the draft. If the Blazers get these two guys in the draft, I'll be extremely excited as a Blazer fan. Collier was, projected to be a top 2 pick. Really fell down the boards. But at the end of the season for USC, he was really good. And, I know a lot of people, they don't watch, the Pac-12. As someone who lives in the West Coast, I watched a lot of the Pac-12. I watched a lot of Isaiah Collier last year. He's pretty good. Let's just say that much. Next up, I have the Heat. I haven't taken Devin Carter here at 15. What's it called? I think he's a really good player. Reminds me a lot of Jose Alvarado. Little, defense, obviously number one for him. Every workout they've said, he's killed the workout, which is huge. I think right now he might even go higher than, 15. You could see the Kings swipe in here at 13, go get him, we'll see. 16 Sixers, again, personally, one of my favorite picks. If you didn't know, I'm a Sixer fan. I know it's been miserable the last few years, dangling me every year in the second round. But I'm going to take Jared McCain here. Remind me a lot of Klay Thompson, minus the defense, obviously. A really stiff shooter, really good shooter. He may have some stuff on his personality base that, a little controversial. But I don't care. If the guy can draw points, and that's really what I want. With threes too, especially on a contending team like Philly next year. 17, I have the Lakers taking Khalil Ware, a guy who reminds me a lot of Anthony Davis, funny enough. A poor man's 80, kind of like a Derek Lively. Really good player, really slept on player, was really good at Indiana last year. Next up, I have the Magic taking Johnny Furphy. I don't know how to say his name. Furphy. He was a really good shooter at Kansas last year. What's the number one thing the Magic need? Is a shooter. I think he's the best shooter on the board. Number 19, I'm going to have the Raptors. Didn't need to be taken off potential. And I think that's Tyler Smith. I think he's a really good, guy for potential-wise out of the G League United. All these G League guys, they are going to be based off potential. Because I don't really know much about them. And I think most NBA teams don't know much about them either. Next up, Cavs. They need a wing. They have to draft a wing here. Terrence Shannon. I think he'd be a great six-man for them. Next up, I'm going to have the Pelicans here at 21. Take Tristan da Silva. Again, another good wing. Could play some defense for you on a Pelicans team. There's probably plenty to contend next year. Can be pretty good for them. Next up here, the Suns at 22. One of my other favorite picks. Carlton Carrington. Bub Carrington, whatever you want to say. I think he's a great point guard for, Phoenix, and they need guys like, him. Potential guys. Great combo guards. Him, Booker, Beal, Durant, Nurkic. That's a good starting five next year that I think can at least go to the second round of the playoffs and probably win you a playoff series, at least. Beyond that, I don't know. Or even be a good six-man for you if you want to still start Grayson Allen. Next up, I have the Bucks here at 23. I'm going to have them take... Shoot, who do I want them taking here? I'm actually going to have them take Baylor Shireman. Good shooter. That's really what I can say about Baylor. He's going to be 23 next year. I thought he was going to be 24, but no, I think he's going to be 23. There's a ceiling of Baylor Shireman. He's going to be a good shooter, and that's kind of it. That's kind of it. I did watch a couple of Creighton games last year. I did have them winning, the tournament. March Madness. That turned out great. They lost to Tennessee. And the Sweet 16, I think? Yeah. What's it called? I got the Knicks here at, 24. With their first pick, I'm going to have them take a Shaw George, a decent guard. Kind of reminds me of what they did with Quentin Grimes a couple years ago, or a few years ago now. So, yeah, and then the next other pick, I'm going to have them take a little bit of a reach here. Kevin McCullough, again, another guy you can knock down threes. Maybe he can play some playoff minutes for you next year. Next up, the Wizards. I'm going to have him take Zach Edey. I think they would explore Zach Edey. And I think it could be a really, interesting spot for him. Next up, I'm going to have the Timberwolves take Ryan Dunn. They need a dog on their team. And I think that's what Ryan Dunn's going to give you. A defender. I think you're really a ceiling if he can, shoot the ball. Could be a guy like Jaden McDaniels, funny enough. So there you go. And Ant would love that. So, yeah. Next up, I'm going to have the Nuggets take Tyler Kolek, a point guard, out of Marquette. Again, kind of reminds me of Christian Brown, a little the shooting, not just because he's a white guard, but yeah, really good player out of Marquette. Good passer, too. Next up, I'm going to have the Jazz here at 29 take Bobby Klitman. I think he's going to be a good player in the league if he can develop. Again, all these international guys are really going to be developmental guys. And they need to go to mid-teams like the Jazz. Jazz, who can be a team, we could develop him. Here's a guy who doesn't really need to be developed if he can land his team. Boston. I think Jalen Tyson, he's a dog. And I think Boston can use him. Especially if they want to repeat. Next up, I'm going to have the Jazz take Yves Missy here, their pick. He could go with them at 19 also. So I think this could be a pretty good pick. Next up, I'm gonna have the Jazz here take Pusfan Daddy. I don't know what to say. The Diet. I don't know. He's pretty good though. I don't know. Again, they're dev guy that you need to develop. Next up, the Bucks here at 33. I'm gonna have them take Kyle Filipowski, a guy who can shoot the ball a little bit, do a little bit of everything. Just he really fell. He really should just stay in the draft last year. He got picked higher. Next up, I'm gonna have the Blazers take Justin Edwards. Again, another really potential guy. This guy's either gonna be really good or really bad, so we'll see. Though I'm personally deciding to be really good. Next up, I got the Spurs. I'm gonna give him some shooters. Let's give him Cam Christie out of Minnesota. Next up, the Pacers. I'm gonna have them take Darryl Holmes. Again, he could be a dog. I think he is gonna be that. Here we go. What are the Timberwolves want? I'm gonna give them Jonathan Mogo. Again, he's a 6'6" center. So, if he was 6'9", 6'10", I think he'd probably be a first-round pick. But he was pretty good for San Francisco last year. I'm surprised. I personally, if I was Mogo, I'd probably see another year, but I guess he wants to go this year. Not risk it. Next up, I'm going to have the Knicks take a John Mitchell out of Santa Barbara. Not a high ceiling, but the Knicks need to win, and maybe they can get some playoff minutes out of a Jai. The Grizzlies here, I'm going to have them take the guy out of African... out of Cameroon, Africa's NBA Academy, whatever it's called. Again, a guy who needs a lot of development. But it's going to be really an experiment with him, so we'll see. Next up, I got the Blazers here at 40. I'm going to have him take AJ Johnson, another guy with a lot of potential. Really low floor, but really high ceiling. Again, we'll see. Next up, I have the Sixers. As a Sixers fan, I could just go Bronny James and be a casual. Where's Bronny even, anyways? Like in the 50s. I don't even know. Yeah, 54, but I'm not going to have him take Bronny. I'm going to have them take Jalen Wells here. Another shooter. So, yeah. Next up, I got the Hornets. I'm going to have them take... Let's have them take Dylan Jones. I think he can be a pretty good guy for the Hornets. We'll see. It's a really weird build, but, yeah. Next up, the Heat. I think he could potentially be a Heat guy. Keshad Johnson. Pretty good player for Arizona. Next up, I'm going to have the Rockets. Let's go. Let's stay him in Houston. Let's stick him in Houston. We're going to go Jamal Shield. Next up, the Kings. I'm going to have them take Harrison Ingram. Here out of North Carolina. Pretty good player. Next up, the Clippers. I'm going to have them take Peter Lamson out of Arizona. Another dog. Could be really good for them. Next up, I'm going to have the Magic take... I'm going to take Majan Achin. I don't really know much about that guy, but sure. The Spurs, I'm going to have them take KJ Simpson or Kenneth Simpson. Again, I think he's going to be really good in the league. We'll see, though. He's only 6 feet. This pick is going to be forfeited. So I'll just take Zach Mabo. I think he's transferring to Kansas this year. So, yeah, he won't be in the draft. Pacers now here at 51 or 50. I don't know, 50. There's a lot of interesting guys. I'm going to have them take Juan Nunez, their first pick. And with their second pick, I'm going to have them take Jalen Bridges. Next up, I'm going to have the Wizards take... I'll have them take Cam Spencer here. Again, another winner. Warriors. Here's another one of my favorite picks. Trey Alexander, a guy who I am huge on. I said if Craig won the March Madness tournament, I think Trey Alexander going to be the MVP of the tournament. I'm really high Trey Alexander guy. And if he goes to the Warriors, maybe him and Steph Curry get some development. We'll see. Pause on that. Next up, I have the Pistons. Here at 54, I'm gonna have them take what's his name? Where is he? Antonio Reeves. Here, the Pistons want to take Bronny. They could take Bronny for crying out. I don't know. The Celtics. I'm gonna have him take Anem Boma. I think he definitely, learn a lot from a guy like Al Horford potentially. Plus, he's a sophomore. UCLA last year. I'm a big Anem Boma guy. I think he could be decent in the league, and I probably shouldn't have him going here at 55, but we'll see. Lakers here at 56. Well, they'll be 55 on draft night. I'm gonna have him take Bronny James. Okay. I mean, what do you want me to do? Shoot me for crying out loud. I don't know. Here's the Nuggets here at 57. There's a lot of guys I can go. Though I'm gonna go. Shoot, who do I want him to go? I'm gonna have him take Tristan Newton here. Could be a good guard for them. Good veteran piece. Next up, I'm gonna have the Grizzlies take N'Faly Dante. I think this pick is forfeited from Phoenix, so I'm gonna have him just take some random player. I'll have him take this guy. I think he's going to Arkansas next year. Anyways. Okay, a lot of guys, I think one guy who did, Aniki Freeman, who could be considered, PJ Hall can definitely be considered, Reach Beachum, other guys, I don't know, Joe Mims is entering the draft this year, Biggie Ellis, I'm a big Emmanuel Miller guy too, Antonio Watson, but I think he's going to be more of a undrafted signing. Isaiah Stevens, another guy, one guy who I don't see on here, okay, there's Jeremy Couisnard. Who else? Okay, I think all these guys aren't entering. One guy, I don't see on here is Kendall Blackshire, out of Nevada. Big fan of his game. Go look him up. He probably won't make the league, though, because he can't shoot, so yeah. But with the final pick, I'm gonna have the Mavericks. I'm gonna stop the yapping. I'm gonna take Isaac Jones out of Wazoo. So here's my mock draft. I got Sarr at 1, Ricochet, Shepard, Kling, and Castle. And you really could just read the rest of the picks. If you want to, I'll give you my favorite 2 picks from every 10 range. 1 through 10, my favorite picks are Alex Sarr and Ron Holland. I also like Rob Dillingham. I like Cody Williams, Isaiah Collier, Jared McCain, Terrence Shannon, what's it called? Bub Carrington, Carlton Carrington, whatever you call him. Other picks I really like Jalen Tyson, Tristan Newton, Trey Alexander, and then I'd probably also go Keshaw Johnson. And then aside from that, I'd probably go Justin Edwards and Cam Christie. And also, really, it's a fun Castle pick. So that's my NBA mock draft. Y'all let me know how I did. In the comments section. This is my first video. If you want to see more videos, drop a like, subscribe. That's all I recommend for y'all.